Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing exactly how you can look elevated, expensive and classy on a budget. Looking expensive is probably associated with spending lots of money and needing money to buy expensive pieces to pull your look together, and that is simply not true. It's actually all about mastering the art of how to present yourself in a way that looks expensive and looks elevated, and no money can buy that. You can have all the designer gear in the world and still not look elevated, because it's about how you put yourself together and how you present yourself to the world. Through either insult or through compliment, I've always been told that I take a lot of time and effort in my appearance and that I'm high maintenance over the years, and I love that. I love to show up as the person I want to be perceived as, because how we look does impact how we're looked at by others, and ultimately it's a reflection of who we are and who we want to look like on the outside. So yes, looks are very superficial, they are not everything, but today's video is going to teach you exactly how you can look elevated on a budget. You do not need to break the bank to do this. Anyone can achieve it, and if you just want to carry yourself as that woman. I'm stepping into my late 20s now. I've been on quite the journey with my fashion, with my style over the years. We've strayed here and there, we've shown a bit too much skin here and there, but I always come back to the same point of just wanting to look classy, because I just think it's such a beautiful look. It's so timeless, and once you master the art of this, you're just going to look great every single day. So let's get into it, guys. Now, it's important to note, it's not just about what you wear. There is so many elements and layers to looking elevated. So first off, we're going to discuss makeup. Makeup is something that is so important. It's the main thing people look at when they first see you, your face. You want your face to look really beautiful. You need to steer away from any crazy makeup. Crazy makeup that just is so far from what your natural appearance is. You want to instead enhance what you already have, and we want to do that in a really soft, beautiful way. So think neutral colours. When it comes to eyeshadow, I personally don't really wear much eyeshadow, but if I do, it would be something very muted and very soft and subtle. So taupe shades, a nice light brown. You can even use your bronzer as an eyeshadow. That's what I love to do, because you know that colour works for your skin, so then you're just kind of adding a little bit of dimension around your eyes. A very light shimmer, but we want to steer away from the really heavy, crazy coloured makeup that just is not giving expensive. And then when it comes to lipsticks as well, the best colour I can explain would be Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. It's a universally beautiful shade on everyone. You want that to be your sort of colour palette that you go for. So nice soft pinks, nice neutral shades, maybe even a little bit of a deeper brown depending on your skin tone. You can try out a red lip if you do it right when you've got an event to go to, but day to day you just want nice, soft, subtle lip colours that just complement your face and complement your overall look. We're not going for the bubblegum bright pink shades anymore, or really over heavily done lips where they're overlined, they look so far from natural and you're worrying about touching them up every 5 seconds. We just want something that's effortless and easy to apply. Think lip oils as well. Lip oils are great. You can just add a little bit of lip liner and a lip oil. Lip glosses I think as well are really, really pretty. I always wear a lip gloss. I just love how they look. Again, another beautiful universal shade would be the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip gloss, which is what I've got on today. I love how it looks. Everything needs to be really soft, really subtle and really blended. So no harsh contour lines, no really crazy highlight under the eye that's, you know, really cut out. We're not aiming for that at all. We're aiming for really soft, well-blended makeup that's enhancing your features. We're not transforming ourselves, we're literally enhancing what we already have. And you need to basically find your signature look when it comes to makeup. So it might take some trial and error to find your products that you love that really help you to achieve this look, but once you've got it, you split that into 3 looks. You have your everyday makeup, you have your quick makeup, which is like a 5-minute routine, and then you have your going out makeup. But the base of this will all be the same sort of products. It's just the way that you apply them will be different. I pretty much use the same foundation every single day, but I just build it up if I'm going out in the evening. Use the same bronzer. Again, I just might go a little bit heavier in the evening, and I go really soft and subtle of a daytime. And we're moving away from big, bold brows. You want your eyebrows to look soft and to look fluffy and to look well maintained and groomed, but not overdone. And all the things that I'm saying today, which may hit hard a little bit if you're someone that does it. I've been there and I've learned from experience. I was that girl that used to do the really heavy eyebrows. It's not a good look. It's not. Go softer. When it comes to lashes as well, you don't want anything too crazy and too heavy. So for my lashes, I've got Lash LVL at the minute, which is when they're cold and they're tinted, and I can apply a little bit of mascara and my eyes pop. Perfect for every single day. And my brows are lamination. Also, can we just laugh at my hand, because this is not an expensive look. We've got like fake tan gone wrong here, okay? Please ignore it. Not everything is always going to be perfect. You want to steer away from really heavy lashes. So my girlies that have the really heavy Russian lashes, I think it's called. No, it is just too much, okay? We can barely see your eyes. We want to be able to see your beautiful eyes. You want to enhance your natural eye shape. So find what works for you. I think cat eye sort of effect kind of like beautiful. So when I do wear falsies, I try and taper them so they just kind of elevate the edges of my eye. I often cut them in half now as well. So I apply just like a kind of half lash, 3/4 lash. I think that looks really, really lovely as well. Just try and tone down what you're already doing if you are a little bit of a very glam, over the top sort of girl. And then when it comes to your hair is super, super important as well. We want our hair to look well looked after, healthy, shiny, and just polished. So you need your hair to be nice and sleek. So if you're curling your hair or straightening your hair, we want to just make sure it's kind of sleek, it's not all over the place, it's not big and it's not frizzy. We've maybe used a bit of hair oil to just tame it down, or we've used some mousse or styling products just to slick our hair down a little bit. We don't want crispy hair when we've got too much product in it. We just want it just right, just in the middle, somewhere in the middle where your hair has got movement, it's still got bounce to it, but it's just all together and it's not too crazy. Hairstyles like a nice bouncy blow dry, just a nice everyday curl, or a nice sleek straight look absolutely beautiful. You can also do a nice sleek ponytail. I absolutely love that when all of this is just sleeked back and you have a nice straight ponytail. It looks beautiful. A nice sleek bun as well, when everything is just groomed, maintained, all brushed back with hairspray or some styling products, and then you've got a gorgeous bun. We're not doing a crazy messy bun anymore, because that is very cute, but it's not elevated. The hairstyle you go for is going to depend, of course, on your natural hair type. So if you do have really curly hair, you can find ways to enhance the curls and just groom the curls and make them look well looked after. Like I say, it's enhancing what you've got naturally. My natural hair is very straight. It's quite thick. It just makes sense for me to curl my hair or just to have it straight normally. It just works for my natural hair and it really doesn't take much effort. So it's finding styles that aren't too much effort for you. If you have naturally really curly hair, I'm not saying by any means now go and straighten it. Just find ways to make them curls look polished and look good. So you could have a really beautiful slick back here and then have your curls out in a ponytail, or have your curls out in a messy bun at the back. Because that's your natural style, it will look good for you because it's you. It enhances your natural features, you know. And hair colour is so important as well. We are ditching the wacky hair colours. We're not having reds, pinks, greens, anything crazy. Hair needs to be stripped back. It needs to be as natural as possible in an enhanced way. A good example is I used to have hair that was almost jet black. It was like the darkest brown from black. It was a stark colour. It lost a lot of shine and it just looked stupid on me. Now, it might look quite dark on camera because of the lighting, but my hair in person is like a rich, glossy chocolate brown. There's lots of tones to it and it complements my skin and it just looks nice and it looks expensive. Whereas when my hair was just a solid colour, it was just way too dark. It didn't look good. It looked like I'd got it out of a box dye. Whereas I dye my hair now and it doesn't look like a box dye. I am always asked what hair colour I use when people see it, because it just looks so much softer now and just subtle and a lot more tonal as well. When you have a bit of a lighter shade, sometimes the tones in your natural hair can sometimes come through and it just looks really pretty in the sunlight. Whereas when my hair was really dark, like I say, it lost colour and it was all just a big block on my head. Not to mention the grow out. When it grew out, it looked terrible. If you don't upkeep the roots on a hairstyle like that, it just looks awful in a matter of 6 weeks. So find a hairstyle that you can afford to maintain and that is maintainable. So we're not going to be having highlights right up to here that as soon as they grow out, they look really harsh. Maybe think about a softer, almost balayage highlight effect where it blends really seamlessly into your natural root colour, and when it grows out it looks effortless. If you can't have it done for 2 months, it looks good. Find hairstyles that you can afford to upkeep effectively. So if you can't afford the maintenance, change up the hairstyle to something that is lower maintenance. And the length of your hair, I think, as well is important. So if you are an extension girly, then just try and tone it down a little bit. Really crazy long hair down to our bums that doesn't look natural on us, or hair extensions that just so obviously don't look natural, are not going to make you look classy and not look elevated. They look very glamorous, don't get me wrong, but if we're stepping into that classy era, we need hairstyles that represent that. So kind of mid sort of length hair. You can still have long hair, but you want it to just be a natural looking length. You don't want crazy hair extensions that are so thick they just look so unrealistic. Maybe tame down the volume that you have so they look just a little bit more natural. You want your hair to always look full. We don't want long scraggly hair. I used to hold on to the length of my hair because I was just desperate to have long hair. I didn't care if the ends were split, scraggly and looked terrible. Whereas now I make sure that I always have it to some extent, you know, blunt cut at the end, so it's always looking full. It's looking as good and as healthy as it possibly can do. I literally do it at home. I'm not telling you to cut your own hair, but you don't have to spend a lot of money to achieve this result. Next is fragrance, and I think fragrance is so important because it's something that people can remember you by. It's something that represents you, and it's an extension of you and how you are as a person, because you can really play on your personality type in your fragrances, and it can represent the mood that you're feeling that day as well. So when it comes to fragrances, I'm not saying to not buy this particular one, but a good example is try and steer away from ones that everyone has and that everyone has access to. So for example, Baccarat Rouge, really high-end fragrance, right? But unfortunately, it's just been duped by every brand possible under the sun. Every place I go, every shop I walk into, I smell that scent because everyone has it. So for me personally, that's not alluding to luxury, opulence, high-end. It's just alluding to something that everyone has access to. We want to smell a way that not everyone will smell, and we want to smell different. We don't have to go for the same scents that everyone has. With that being said, it doesn't mean you have to spend loads of money. Zara do some great scents and they really do not break the bank. You can buy like a 100ml bottle for under £20. So go into places like that, have a smell, figure out what you love, what smells good and what represents you. When it's the daytime, I think you want something a little bit lighter, nothing too heavy. We want a nice pretty scent, maybe vanilla, floral sort of scents, but nothing too strong and overpowering. Whereas when it's the evening, I think that's when you can really ramp it up and have something that just lasts a little bit longer and makes more of an impression. So Carolina Herrera Good Girl is a great one for the evening because it's a very strong scent. I think it just makes perfect sense to wear it at night time if you're going out for the evening, for dinner, for drinks. It's just beautiful. I get so many compliments when I wear that fragrance. For the daytime, something like Burberry Goddess, it's a really gorgeous like vanilla-y sort of undertone. There's a little bit of citrus in there as well. It's very nice, it's light, but it's still gonna make a statement. You're still gonna smell good, and yeah, I think how you smell is honestly so important. I have a very, very big perfume collection, but I recommend you just find your signature scent and what works for you. So you don't have to start crazy. You can just start with 1 or 2 fragrances that you love. But yeah, when you come to scents, you just want something that's not too sickly sweet, that's not too overpowering, that just smells beautiful. Then on to jewelry. Jewelry is a great way to accessorize your overall look and to add something to a basic look. So if you're not even wearing anything too extravagant one day, but you have nice jewelry on, it can really lift up your look. Ultimately, it's a way that you can accessorize yourself. So I'm very basic when it comes to jewelry. I often just wear earrings like today. You can get yourself a nice necklace as well, a nice bracelet, some rings. But you want everything that you wear to be very understated, to be classy, to be minimal, nothing too crazy and heavy. So we're ditching the big chunky necklaces and the big bold statement pieces. Earrings like today, so I often go for a nice like diamondy sort of earring, whether, I mean, these are not diamonds, but an earring that looks like diamonds, that glistens, that looks really pretty in the right light. It looks expensive, it looks elevated, but it's not trying too hard. And you can spend any variety of price point. You can go all the way down to £20 for a pair of earrings like this, or you can go all the way up to thousands, but you will find a beautiful earring in that sort of price point, which will do the trick. A lovely pair of plain gold earrings as well. You can get a nice statement pair that isn't too big and chunky and in your face. We don't want big dangly huge earrings. We're ditching the huge hoops, okay? They're not giving expensive. So we're ditching anything like that, and I think more just nice studs, maybe some earrings that hang in the evening time, but nothing too crazy that take away from everything else. You want them to be part of your look, but you don't want them to be the look. And with your necklace, again, you want something that's just thin, that's dainty, that's pretty, that's feminine. I love a dainty necklace, just a nice thin chain with just a small charm on it, nothing too wild. Again, the same goes for rings as well. You could get yourself some nice rings to stack, but I don't think you need your entire hand covered in rings. It's a really nice look, but I think less is more. That's something to really take away from this category of the video. Less is is more when it comes to jewelry and how you accessorize your look. And moving on to other accessories too, your handbag is so important. You can have a nice handbag and it really does add to your look. I feel naked without my handbag because it really just completes the look. I do love a designer handbag. I'm not going to sit and pretend I don't. I love a designer handbag, and I do think if you can afford to get one for yourself that is an investment that you truly love, you do your research, it's a piece that will stay with you for life. You can pass it down, you know, you will absolutely cherish and adore your designer handbags. But there are so many beautiful, affordable options on the market for those that can't afford a designer handbag. Do not worry if you can't afford one. You will find a lovely handbag elsewhere. There are some really stunning designs, very similar to designers, but on a budget. When it comes to colours of handbags, I personally think you always need a black bag in your collection. You also need a nice cream or a white handbag as well, and a neutral bag like a beige or a tan or even brown. These are all colours that can be interchanged and mixed and matched with your outfits so easily, and they'll just be go-to pieces that you always reach for. Even a nice red handbag, a pop of colour like that, but you're going to want to steer away from any patterned crazy handbags, any really crazy colours like greens or yellows. You just want everything to be quite muted and understated. That's what I've kind of learned that the more higher end old money vibes is all about. It's definitely about muted colours. Your blacks, your whites, your creams, your beiges, your tans. You don't really see anyone wear crazy colours like greens and purples and oranges and neon colours. We're scrapping all of that and we're just toning it right down. And with your shoes as well, I think shoes are really important too. So think things like slingback heels. We don't need crazy high platforms or stilettos or anything like that. Again, you want to keep it classy, you want to keep it a little bit muted and a little less extravagant and out there. So I love a slingback heel. A kind of mid sort of heel height looks really, really nice. The same color palettes as everything else that I'm talking about. So again, those muted, pretty, just nice colours. Even a pale pink can look really pretty as well, but just something muted and not too out there. But with that being said, you could go for a red or you could go for a wine colour as your pop of colour if you were wearing maybe an all black look of an evening, and that was really the way to show the statement and to accessorise. But I often lean more just to all the neutral sort of shades. I love a pointed toe. I think they look really, really classy. I also think a square toe is stunning. If you're going for sandal heels, a square toe is really, really beautiful. It's my favourite style to wear. I love a strappy sandal heel. I think they're so nice in the summertime. They elevate you. It's nicer than just wearing flat sandals, but you don't have to go too crazy high with them as well. I really love wearing them so much. For day-to-day shoes, you could wear ballet flats. You could get yourself a nice pair of loafers, even things like Birkenstocks, okay? Like if you're a practical girl, you've got a lot of walking to do, a nice pair of Birkenstocks can actually go a long way if you have a nice chic outfit on. If you're going into the city for the day, you're walking tons, they look okay. I used to look at shoes like that and think they're so ugly, they're so just, ugh, they're not glam, but actually they're nice, they're so comfortable, and they're a timeless sort of sandal that anyone can wear that does look elevated for what it is. They're not ugly Crocs, because we are not wearing Crocs, okay? Crocs are not expensive looking. Crocs are hideous. I'm just gonna say it. I actually hate Crocs with a passion. You are not walking around in Crocs. That is actually a really good way of explaining it. If you're a Croc person and you're that kind of level of shoe, switch out to Birkenstocks, because they are like the nice version of what Crocs would be in the shoe world, because they are still a bit of a controversial shoe. But if you're going for ultra comfort, Birkenstocks all the way. They look so much better than Crocs or anything like that. If you are on the go and you're an active sort of lady, you can still go to trainers. Of course, you don't have to just stick to all these shoes. Trainers are still fine. I am very much a girl that lives in loungewear and activewear like 90% of the time. 90%, and it can still look very elevated and very expensive. So we're going to move on to clothes now, because that ties in really nicely. Matching sets are the way to go, and you want really nice, buttery soft, comfortable fabrics. Adanola are one of my favourite brands ever for that sort of set. Colours again, blacks, neutrals, navy I think is really pretty. I've tried out cream ones, but I don't always think really light coloured activewear looks good. It really has to be a good set to pull it off. So blacks, navy, even like a nice rich brown colour I think looks absolutely beautiful as well. A nice dark grey shade, but a matching long sleeve top or like a t-shirt set with the long legging bottoms. And then the way you accessorize it is what's going to make you look elevated and put together. So a nice pair of trainers. I love New Balances personally, and you can find a style that really work for all your looks. And I love to add a trench coat over the top, because the trench coat is what brings the look up and really elevates it and takes it from just a basic activewear set to a really put together chic look. You can add a nice bag as well just to make it that little bit more feminine, or you can even add a blazer over the top if you're running errands that day and you're on the go. Slick your hair back in a nice ponytail or a nice sleek bun, chuck on your trainers, chuck on your activewear, a nice blazer, and you just look so much more elevated than just going out in something just slouchy like a loungewear set or tracksuits, which I just feel are not the best things to be wearing out and about. So nice to wear at home, but when you're out and about, I think activewear sets all the way. Or if you are looking to wear a hoodie, at least pop on a trench coat with it so that it again elevates it up and makes it look more smart and put together. It's basically about kind of always having a smart element about you. And onto kind of day-to-day clothes, this would be a whole video in itself. I really think building yourself a capsule wardrobe is the most important step of all. You need pieces that are just so easy to mix and match and put together. But for the fundamental basics of looking elevated with your outfits, you want everything to fit you really lovely but not to be skin tight. So I have definitely had my fair share of wearing things way too tight for me, things that are just busting open, trying to get into certain sizes, things that just are not very flattering. You want your outfits to have some movement in them. So this blouse I'm wearing today, it's not skin tight, you know, there's some movement in the sleeves. You don't want it to be skin tight against your arm. You want it to be floaty and to fall off you, but not in a way that's too oversized either. We want everything to just be a nice fit on our bodies. Something I've really learned as well is just to stop showing too much skin. I'm not saying you need to look like a nun and be covered from head to toe, but you don't need to have everything on show. Things can be left to the imagination. Okay, and you're gonna look so much more classy and respectful of yourself when you don't have everything out. I'm not saying you can't have any chest on show, by the way, but if you do it, just do it in a classy way. So if you're having something a little bit lower on show at the top, have the rule of having one thing on show. So make sure your legs are covered. We're not gonna wanna wear something skimpy on the bottom and skimpy on the top, because that is not gonna look expensive. It just doesn't give that vibe. If you are having your chest on show, again, try and do it in a little bit more of a subtle way. Try and not have a really big push-up bra which is making them spill out and just look absolutely massive and really like you want people to see them. Maybe do it in a subtle way. So I will still wear things that kind of, you know, a little bit lower, but I might do it in a way where it's a little bit more wrap over so you can see a tiny bit but you can't see too much. Or I often wear a blazer dress where again you can see a tiny bit of chest but a majority of it is covered. When it comes to fabrics as well, you want your outfits to look expensive. We don't want to wear things that are too see-through, too thin, that look cheap. You need pieces that feel heavy quality and they look really luxury. It can be quite hard with the current market to find this because so many things I buy these days are just so thin and poor quality, but try and invest into pieces that will last that little bit longer, that look better. So effectively, you're probably spending the same money that you would on a big shop, but you just get a few pieces that are better quality, that look nicer. So when it comes to blouses, for example, I think a beautiful satin blouse, and it doesn't have to be real satin. H&M, for example, or Zara can do some really lovely satin blouses, but a black satin blouse, a cream satin blouse, they look so beautiful, and they're pieces that you can wear into the office. If you're a corporate girl, they're pieces that you can wear with some nice trousers or a skirt for an evening do out as well. So you can use these pieces depending on the occasion that you're going for, and that's what I love my wardrobe to reflect. I want to have pieces that I can dress up and down, but no matter how I style them, they always add elegance to my outfit, and that's what I mean about the kind of activewear look. I know that if I wear activewear, I can still very much look classy and I can look like a put together girl because I add the right accessories to the look to really bring it together, and that's what you kind of want, and that's why you want to build this capsule wardrobe. Gorgeous tailored trousers too are so beautiful. I used to live in leggings, and I do when I'm going for my activewear looks, but if I'm not going for a sporty look, I do not wear leggings anymore. I used to literally wear leggings with like a blouse. I don't know what I was thinking. Whereas now I have tailored trousers, I have some nice wide leg trousers, I have some tapered trousers, but none of them stick to my skin because again, if they're gonna stick to your skin, they're just too tight. Sorry if anything's changed, by the way. The battery died, so I've had to wait like half half an hour, so I'm trying to remember where I was to pick back off. But we were on to clothes, and the other key points I think are really important for clothes are having some nice jackets too. A nice jacket can completely elevate a look again. I have some really gorgeous jackets from Zara. Zara are like my go-to place for jackets, I have to say. I've got a lot of blazers from there. I've got some really gorgeous tweed jackets, almost like bomber sort of style jackets, but a little bit more elevated because they've got this tweed sort of fabric to them. So I absolutely love wearing them. I also love having nice pairs of skirts. So I love a skirt, don't get me wrong, I do love a skirt, but if you're going for a short sort of skirt, it can be really difficult to pull off without it being too short, without worrying that it's going to flap up in the wind. I love a skirt because they kind of just make a pair of shorts look that little bit more dressy. And yeah, I honestly love them. If you know me, you know that I absolutely live in skirts. I've got them in so many colours, and Zara are my go-to again for all of the skirts I have. But if I'm going for something a little bit short, especially in the daytime, I'll pop on a pair of tights with it when it's a little bit colder, just because again, it just covers you a little bit more. A pair of tights can go a long way. If you've got a short dress on, if you just add a sheer pair of tights, they haven't got to be like really, really dark, you know, just kind of like a nice, kind of like 15, 20 sort of level. It just adds sheen to your legs. You can definitely get away with shorter when you add a pair of tights to your look. So that's another kind of like little tip that I have as well. But yeah, let me know if you want to see another video on all things fashion related, because I just feel like there's just so much to say about fashion and it'd be so much to explain in this one video. But ultimately, to kind of as a little takeaway, you want all your outfits to be muted, neutral colours. Personally for me, I think that's the easiest to style together. You can mix and match them all and they always look classy. You want things that are not too tight but not too baggy, kind of a nice fit about them. You want some smart tailored pieces in your collection, like blazers, like nice jackets, like nice coats that you can use to pop over basic outfits and make them look smarter and put together. You want some lovely trousers in your collection as well. You want some nice basic tops and blouses and some nice dresses, and nothing too on show, but it's okay to show a bit of skin. You know, that's still nice to show a bit of skin, but just in a nice way without being too revealing. But you don't have to dress like a nun either. Like, we want to still look good, you know, we want to be in our feminine era. We don't want to be covered up from head to toe, but we just want to do it in a classy way. And something as well, guys, that is super important to your overall appearance, I can't believe I forgot about it till now, is your nails. Like, nails, oh my god, nails make or break how you look. If your nails are not done, please at least look after them, okay? I understand some people can't have their nails done because they are working in jobs potentially where you're not allowed any polish or anything like that. So just make sure your nails are always a nice length. You don't want really long nails that are not painted. That's just my personal opinion. If you're having bare natural nails, just try and have them a shortish length. Too short can also look bad, so you don't want nails that are literally like shorter than your nail bed. You know when someone bites their nails and they're really short? That gives me the serious ick. You need to do something about that. I honestly think it just looks terrible. If you've got natural nails, try and have them maybe just past the skin length, just a tiny bit of length to them, but quite short, and just make sure they're clean, just clean and well maintained. That is key if you can't wear polish. But if you can do something to your nails, then again, just go for a nice milky pink colour, a neutral shade. It's perfect for day to day and it's very forgiving when it grows out too. So this is what I always go for. I always go for this sort of shape and this sort of colour. I can then do little tweaks to it just ever so slightly. So at the minute I've got like a glittery top coat, just adds a slight sheen. You might not even be able to see it from there, but it's nothing too crazy. Or like at Valentine's Day, I put a little love heart on them, but I like to keep them this colour because it grows out so beautifully. If you are an acrylic girl like me, then stop getting really long claws. It doesn't look classy. Again, it just doesn't. There's certain sort of styles that you associate with certain sorts of people, and really long crazy nails you do not associate with a wealthy woman. You just don't. It's just facts. So you want to go for an in-between length. If you're going for long nails, I wouldn't personally go for much longer than this. Maybe a tiny bit longer, but you just don't want them too crazy long, and you also don't want crazy designs. I don't like nail art that much. Again, I don't associate that with what a wealthy woman would have. I very much associate French nails, a nice neutral nail, maybe a red nail or like a burgundy if it's autumn time. That can look really lovely as well. But day to day, I am a neutral girl through and through, and I ask for pink powder so that it grows out and just doesn't really stand out harshly against my natural nail colour, because nails for me is something I don't want to have done too often. I get really bored sitting there. It takes time, it's expensive, so I get mine done once a month. The grow out in that time can be quite significant, and I certainly don't want a bright crazy colour that just looks terrible after a week of having it. And also your toes as well, you need to get your toes done, or at least paint them or do something with them. Again, we want to make sure they're not too long. We don't claw toenails, it is disgusting, it gives me the ick. You want toenails that just are clean, well looked after. I think things like that are really just icky if they're not looked after, because things like nails in particular, it's what someone looks at and can kind of judge if you're clean or not. And if your nails are not well looked after and they're not clean, it just brings your entire vibe down. I hope that makes sense, and I hope it doesn't sound judgmental, but that is just how I feel about it. So yeah, just please make sure nails are all nice and clean and tidy, and I'm sure you get the idea with that. But I think, guys, that concludes today's video. I feel like we've gone over so many different areas. I really hope you've enjoyed and taken something from this, and hopefully it helps you on your journey to become a little bit more classy and just well put together and looking expensive. Because honestly, since I have changed the way I dress, like I say, I've always had this in me, like I've always enjoyed dressing like this, but I have strayed over the years, just depending on what situation I'm in. Like if I'm going out a lot of the time with friends, and I guess you kind of dress a certain way when you're with your friends potentially because you all want to look similar. I have been that person a little bit that's kind of easily influenced by what the people around me are doing too much sometimes, whereas I feel like I'm truly in my own zone now, and I genuinely feel so great for it. I just feel like such a nicer version of myself, and I feel like my true self, and I feel like I can show up as the person I want to be. I feel so much more confident when I dress nicely and present myself how I want to be perceived by people. And I do feel like I have more respect and taken a little bit more seriously than if I rocked up not this way. I know it sounds judgmental and it shouldn't be that way, but it's just facts. If you go to an interview, for example, and you are so pristine, you look very much the part, and you act the part, you're probably more likely to get the job over someone that it goes up scruffy and doesn't take much care of their appearance. I don't make the rules, I'm just in the game, as they say. That's so cringy, but do you know what I mean? Like, we just have to go with it. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Do follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you aren't already, because I post every single day, and there's so many outfit ideas on there as well if you're looking for tips. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely glow up journey yourself, and I look forward to seeing you really soon. Mwah. Bye guys.